Hello everyone, this is Sela. In this video, we will continue working on our weekly time budget application. What we're gonna do in this video, we will see how we can store some data on the database using Appwrite. We will see how we can create our categories, and also we will see how we can list them, and we will see how we can implement that model to create a new category. And finally, we will see how we can manage the permissions on Appwrite. So I hope you will enjoy while watching the video. Without spending more time, let's get started. So the first thing that we're gonna do is creating a new database for our application. After entering the console of Appwrite, you should click databases at the left hand side and then click create database. And here you should give a name for the database, and also you should give an ID. So we will able to access that database using the ID. So we can use main for name and ID as well. Right after that, we should create a new collection. You can think that collections as like a table for our database. Since we are gonna store some categories, we can give a name like categories, and after that we should add some attributes for that database. Actually, what we're gonna store in this collection, we will store name of that category. Because of that, we can create a string attribute, and we can use name as an attribute key. Right after that, we should mark it as required, and we should set a size. We can say 128 for it. After completing that setup for our database, we should turn back our VS Code and change the title of that toolbar. We can use categories for it, since we are gonna list our categories in this page. And right after that, we should have a button to allow user to open that model to create a new category. So in order to add that button, I just needed to check that documentation, and in here we have some examples that how we can add that buttons. So we will just grab that code that we need, and let's copy and paste it in our code. So right here, of course, we will import that needed components, and right after that we will change the label of the button. We can say new, and also we can put maybe we can say new, and we can put a plus after that. And now it's time to implement the model to allow user to create a new category. So we will check the documentation for it, and here you will see some of the examples for that. And basically we will just grab the code to create a new model. So I will just copy it, and I will create a new component called category form model. After pasting all the code, we need to import all the components that we used in this example code, and right after that we should clear some of the unnecessary codes here. instead of using the ref, I decided to actually I'm gonna pass an onClose callback to be able to close that category form model. So I'm gonna create an interface called props, and after that I will just define the type of that component to be able to use that prop. So in here I will use that callback function called onClose. And in order to manage that visibility of that model, we will have a state here. We can say show model, and if the value is true, we will basically render that model to show the user, and if it's false, we will basically unmount the component to hide it. And here we should pass onClose callback to our component as we defined. It's gonna change the state of show model. It's gonna change the false to close the model. And also once user click that new button, we should open the model. In order to do that, we should change the show model state value to true. And here when we click that, it doesn't open the model. It's because we should go to our model, and we should pass is open true here. And here we only have a single input, and we should manage the state of that input. In order to do that, we should use state hook of React, and we should pass value, and we should handle the once user press some key on this input. And let's change the label of that input to category name, or maybe just we can say name for it. And maybe we can change the title of that model to new category. We should also handle once user click that confirm button. In order to handle that, we should create a new callback function called onSave. And in this function, if the name input is empty, we will basically return. And if we have a name field, if we have a name value, we will basically send a request to Appwrite to save that new category. So to be able to use that databases on Appwrite, we should basically create a new instance for the database, and we should import that database here, and after that we should export that. So let's import the databases here to use it, and basically we should use it like databases, and we have a couple of functions in it, but we are going to use create document one, and we should pass the database ID. We used main as a database ID, so we're going to pass main, and as a categories collection ID, we just used categories one, and also we should pass an unique ID. In order to create a new unique ID, we can use the ID helper class. And after that, we should pass the data. And as you remember, we only have the name attribute on this collection. So this is why we only passed the name as a data. So right after that, we can pass the permissions for the document. So in Appwrite, if you check the documentation, you will see that Appwrite has collection level permissions and also document level permissions. And so we're going to use the document level one. So basically we want to say that only the user who created this document can read it, can update it, and also delete it. So the other users will not be able to do that. So basically we will pass an array of that permissions. So in order to limit that which users can read it, so we will use read function for that, and as a parameter for that function we will pass role.user, and in this role.user, and we will pass the ID of the user who created this document. So basically to pass that user ID we should also store the ID of the user, but as you remember in the previous video we only stored the email and the name of the user. So we should change it. Basically we should go into the out context, and here we should also store the ID of the user. And after that we can pass the user ID here. In order to fix that TypeScript issue, we can basically say if user is null or undefined, and also or if the name is empty, we can return it. We can stop making this function work. And we should also pass the other permissions here. You know, only the user who created this document can update that document, and also only the user who created it can delete it. So after that basically we can show an alert message after creating the category, and let's try to create a new category. Yeah, first after creating the category we can make the name input empty, and also we can run the onClose function to close the model. Let's try to create a new one. Okay, it seems we couldn't create a new category. Let's check that network request to see what's wrong with it. And as you can see, we don't have the permission to create that because as I said, Appwrite has also collection level permissions. We should just allow the user to create now new documents on this collection. So we will basically go to databases, and also we will choose the collection and go into the settings, and you will see that permissions, you should choose the users and allow users to create a new document in this collection. After doing that, let's try to create a new category. Okay, so after granting that permission, it seems we are able to create a new category. After that, let's check it. Yeah, we have the new category here. Great. Okay, so we are able to create a new category right now, and right now we should check how we can fetch that categories to show in our page. Let's check the documentation, and yeah, as you can see, we have a new list documents function in the databases instance. So we basically use that function to fetch all the categories to show it. So what we're gonna do here, basically we will use effect, and here once the screen is opened, we will basically send a request to Appwrite to fetch that categories. So we will pass the database ID, collection ID, and yeah, we will not pass any queries for now. We will basically try to fetch all the categories in this collection, all the documents in this collection. And also we should wrap that with an async function, and let's see the result on the console. So as you remember, we only grant that creating permission for the user. We should also pass list, read permission for the user, but basically we can grant all the permissions for the user. So after that, once we refresh the page, you will see that we are able to fetch all the categories right now. So we can add another state to store the categories here, and maybe basically we can create a new interfaces to know the type of that category in our application. We can create a new folder called types, and we can create a file called base.ts, and here we can create a new interface called category. And in this category, as you know, we only have the name of that category, and also we have an ID. So we can basically leave it like this. We can keep it simple. Maybe we can put a $sign before the ID, because Appwrite use it like that. And here we should define the type of that state. Since we are going to store the category array of category, we can define it like that. So after getting all the categories from Appwrite, we can put all the results into that state. But here, as you can see, we have some TypeScript issues. To fix that issue, basically we can cast the type of that response. Okay, after that, we can check the documentation. We should just list all the categories here, but let's see how we can do that. So basically we can use Ion list component. Let's open that page and let's copy the example code here. So basically what we're gonna do here, we will just list all the categories that we stored in our local state. Okay, it seems we are listed all the categories that we have in our collection. So right now we only have a single category. So so as you know, once we create a new category, we should just refresh that list, because since we need to refetch all the categories, we can create a separate function called load categories, and we can move all the code inside that function. And once user create a new category, we should rerun this function to refetch all the list. In order to do that, maybe we can have another prop on our category form model. Maybe we can say on save, and once user save the new category, we can basically run that on save function, and we can basically run that load documents function in on save callback function. After running the load categories function, we should also change the show model state to false to hide that model. Okay, so at the end I realized an strange issue. Once we press some key here, the state is not being updated properly. In order to fix that, I decided to go with using the use ref for our input. Let's try to do that. Actually, I'm gonna copy that and paste it here, and we will pass that reference to our input graph, and right after user click that confirm button, let's try to access the value of that input graph current value. Let's clear it. Okay, so it seems we can have the updated value of that input by using the ref. All right, so okay, we can have a variable named name, and we can remove that logs, so we can leave the other codes as it is. We should remove that one. Also, we should remove that. Okay, so let's try to create a new category. New category 2024, click confirm button, and it seems category created successfully. And once we click OK, it hides the model, and it refreshed the list here. Let's try to add another one. Okay, so it seems everything works properly right now. Alright, so I think we are done for this episode. So in the next video we will try to edit these categories, and also we will try to implement deleting that categories. Right after that we will start tracking times on these categories. Hope you enjoyed while watching the video. If you like it, please leave a comment, and see you on the next video.